I started to realize, and it makes sense, if epigenetics is like a neurological trauma and it is like making our nervous system activated and there's blockages, the chakras are an energetic blockage that we have because of intergenerational trauma. And how do I clear it if I don't even know that shit is mine?
Welcome to Empaths Anonymous,
a space for dreamers, healers, and feelers navigating the fine line between putting yourself first and holding space for others.
If you struggle with balancing your needs while still supporting your tribe, then you're in the right place.
Welcome to the support group. Hi, welcome back to Empaths Anonymous podcast. I'm Christina.
And I'm Danny.
And today we are so excited to have an amazing guest on the podcast. We met her. She's finishing out the trifecta. So we had on Brittany Williams, we had on Socorro, and now we're having on Cynthia, who is from Rooted in Reflection. We also met her at the same event we met the other two ladies at. So, so excited to get into the topic we're talking about with her, which is epigenetics and chakra aligning and generational healing. You know that we love. We love some generational healing topics on this pod.
A couple of things that our guest Luis touched on when we were speaking to them, which was Marianismo and machismo and like all those different things that make us who we are. Even if you are not within the Latin culture, you understand kind of what those gender roles can do to a family dynamic.
Right.
And so it's such a good conversation. I swear this whole conversation like changed the whole way that my brain was wired. So it's so good.
It was a big light bulb moment for sure. But before that, what's in your cup, girly pop?
Y'all, by the time this releases, which thank you so much for closing out mental health awareness with us. It's been a really kind of whoop-de-doop-de May over here. We've had a lot going on between Beyonce and all the other things. This would have been just over a week, or just about to be a week of my graduation celebration. Finally, I am taking a well-deserved break. So today I decided, even though I still have to work on my paper, I am drinking Nova because it's been a long time since we talked about Nova.
You guys, it's so sad I can't drink Nova anymore. The last time that I drank Nova, I got the most killer headache and I immediately had to lay down. It was like...
It's the kombucha.
It's the kombucha. It's the histamines. I don't know. I was drinking kombucha for years thinking that it was helping. And then I was like, well, why is my stomach always bloated? And why do I still feel like shit after every meal? Because I was drinking kombucha after every meal. You know?
We tested the theory. We're like, is it the alcohol? Is the kombucha? So when she went to go have a non-alcoholic kombucha, just a regular, and it did the same thing. So, unfortunately, it is the booch.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry.
Yeah. How are you showing up mentally, emotionally?
Not.
I don't know.
Not. If I look glazed over, it's because I am. It's been kind of a like really, really hefty 2 weeks of just finishing everything. This was like such a writing heavy semester for me. I had to do so much writing this semester for all three of my courses, one of which is like very scientific writing, which sucks the soul out of my entire body. But I love it at the same time. I'm weird. And so
I'm a weirdo.
But there's like, you know, the light hasn't quite hit me. I don't think the reality has quite hit me yet of like just being able to take the next step. I'm stepping onto a new lily pad. So there's definitely hope. There's definitely excitement because we have we said this last episode, we have a really, really fun summer planned for the podcast, for us individually, for me being able to like actually enjoy my summer and go swimming. But right now,
go swimming.
I do want to just go swimming. I am showing up slightly depleted, but obviously very, very hopeful for what I'm going to be doing in the next 2 months.
She woke up at 5 a.m., you guys.
Who is she?
Work on a paper, and we are not bitches who wake up before 8 a.m.
I mean, you could bet money on how many times we've said we're not the 5 to 9 girlies. Yeah. And I'm still not, but I did make a sacrifice this morning because it's the nitty gritties, you guys. I'm about to be back in the dungeon after this.
It's literally due tonight. So
yeah.
I mean, when you're listening to this, it will have already happened, but
Then thank God
Send
for that.
Danny your prayers and your energies.
Please, yeah. I need the final grade to reflect my effort.
Yeah.
What's in your cup, sister?
I am drinking a Recess. It is a lime citrus flavor. It has magnesium and like nootropics in it, even though I don't even know what the fuck those are. I'm at the point where I'm just like,
Sounds good.
it's good for my brain? Cool. Let's do it. Load her up.
Tropics, yeah.
I put some coconut
tropical.
water in there because I was dehydrated, and then pineapple juice for taste.
Flavor.
Yeah. And I'm coming off of an emotional roller coaster weekend. I shared, I don't remember if this was last episode or the episode before. It was last episode. That I had to cut somebody out of my life that I really didn't want to, and then like there was like a sliver of like, oh, this might be able to continue, but in the future, and then the hammer got dropped, and it's like, oh no, he does not respect me.
It was a big fat no. It was like a resounding no. It was like
Resounding.
an echolocation no.
It was a who the fuck do you think I am?
She was
no.
about to say like, yeah.
Yeah. And so
She was about to. She's been through.
I've been through. And it was at the exact moment that I needed to go meet my youngest brother's brand new girlfriend. And so I was like, I feel like shit and fuck relationships and fuck men, but I just need to go be happy for my little brother now. So, and then I was around them for like 3 whole days.
Yeah.
So it was like, not necessarily like third wheeling. She and I get along really well. She's a Leo with a Taurus rising, so we're basically the same. So it was fun. It honestly took my mind off of it. And I'm really excited because my website is officially launched after you guys have heard me complaining about it for months. She's out there in the world. It just feels like such a heavy weight off of my shoulder, and I'm excited to start accepting clients. So you guys can check out my website. It's ChristinaCreative.com.
It'll be linked in the show notes, as things are.
As things are. So, yes, a little bit of heavy, a little bit of light. That's how I'm showing up.
That is I don't know, that's the theme of May.
Yeah.
A little heavy, a little light. It's the theme of the year.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Yin and yang.
Yeah. It's like we have to be able to balance all of it. It's like we have to be able to talk about the things that are bothering us and how much fun we had at Beyonce, so much so that we're considering Vegas in July. But
yeah, I know.
Please.
We can't get into that because I was already wanting to have that conversation with you off the mic.
we did get tickets to Cali Uchis.
We did. I'm so excited.
And it's going to be good. I was like actually very nervous. I didn't realize how much I really wanted to go see her.
Right.
So when tickets started to sell out, I was like, wait, I'm actually very upset about this.
That's when you know.
Yeah.
That's when you know. And then I saw, oh, she's going to be in Palm Desert? Let's do that.
Right. I didn't even
Sounds
pay
like a
attention to that
relaxing
date because I was
weekend.
like, San Diego or bust, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. And it's about the same distance. So if you guys also love Cali Uchis and you are in our area, come to the Palm Desert show and maybe we can meet up.
We're trying to do a little girly.
Yeah.
Oh.
Maybe, okay, if any of you are coming, let us know because then maybe we can like plan a little like drinks before meetup.
I think so.
That'd be fun.
It would be fun.
Yeah. So let us know. It's in August, so we have time.
The wheels are turning. I don't know if you can see.
Right?
Yeah, I would love that.
Yeah.
We were already going to make it kind of like a little girly staycation because
sure.
Palm Desert, Palm Springs, like, hello, it's for the girls and the gays
Yes.
and the days. So yeah, it would be the more the merrier always.
Yes. So let's get into our chat with Cynthia. Do you want to share something that impacted you so much, or are you kind of just like wanting the feelers to have their own moment?
I think you guys will be able to tell on my face mostly some of the moments that kind of like hit me hard. But yeah, I think when like the day that we had this conversation was a really, really heavy podcast day and we had so many incredible conversations. But with this being kind of like the little bow that wrapped up the evening, I think it was really, I don't know, it was just really something that I needed to hear. A lot of the things that we talked about were things that I needed to hear. And I think just one of my favorite things is that she talked about the backpack that we carry with us every single day. And now I'm just starting to notice some of the things that are in it since having that conversation.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I love just like learning what epigenetics is, you know me, I'm like a very like I'm down for the woo. Tell me
get
all
into
the things. I want to know about the ancestors. I want to know about my chakras and all of that. So it was cool to bring those two worlds together. I think that you guys will enjoy it because it really does bring therapy and spirituality into like a nice little.
We've noticed that so much with the people that we've had, our guests that we've had. They just
Yeah.
marry them so well.
Yeah.
And it's becoming a more common practice. And you'll hear Cynthia's journey, and like it's so fascinating now where she's headed. But
yeah, I admire her so much because she really is just forging her own path. And she's like, I don't give a fuck what therapy is supposed to look like or what a therapist is supposed to look like or a mental health practitioner.
She's like buttoned up. She said,
way.
fuck the buttons. She's like, she ripped the shirt off and the buttons went flying across the room.
Yeah.
Like that's what she said to buttoned up.
I knew it was on and popping when she said that she was going to move to Merida. Yes, because that literally, Merida has been on my radar since 2020. When not everybody, there was like the
community of Black people on the TikToks.
There was a big exodus with, DJT being in office during the election and George Floyd and just everything that happened around there. A lot of Black people moved there. Yeah. And it's just on my list of places that I've always wanted to go. So she said that and I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah. She's going to be a hashtag expat. I love it. I love that hashtag.
Exactly.
It's like I forget the ex-Christian one.
There's an ex-Christian?
Like an ex-evangelical.
Yeah.
The ex-Mormons are called ex-Mos.
Oh, that's cute.
Isn't it?
I kind of like that.
Speaking of, we got to get into... Okay, we're going to get into the episode. We are going to get into the episode. We really are.
This would honestly be a good full episode. Maybe, you guys...
I hope you guys know what we're talking about because we didn't say, but it's Secret Lives of Mormon Wives. You knew.
Look at me. I'm sad. I was instantly excited.
Knee to the chest, knee to the chest.
Yeah. I don't want to get into it too much because it really could be its own episode. And so maybe it can be some of our like bonus content that we have planned. Yeah. Because just the mental healths of it all and just the religious trauma of it all and everything was just so crazy. I'm
trying to avoid absolutely not. Oh. I'm trying to avoid any and all spoilers, but I did scroll across some, like half of a headline because I just went right past about how it's like boring this season because they don't have like the same drama. Like there's nothing secret about their lives anymore. Like they're just very much regular, back to mom talk. You know, there's no juice. That's what the headline said, but
I don't want to spoil anything for you.
Okay, please don't.
I hope that they don't. With how they ended it, I hope they don't make us wait a whole another year again because
you already finished the whole shit?
Girl, I finished it in 2 days.
Oh my God.
I would have finished it in 1 if I didn't have to wake up and go to the work the next day.
To the work?
To the work.
I hate the work.
I hate the work. Yeah. So I'm not going to spoil anything. I thought that when you brought it up, I thought that you were saying that you started it. So I was excited.
There's no way in hell.
Let me just say it this way. This is the only thing I will say. Whitney's not the most annoying this season, and I didn't think that was going to be possible.
Wow. Yeah. That's shocking news to me already. Mm-hmm. Okay, well, like I got to get into it because that's hot tea.
Yes, but speaking of hot tea, let's get into our convo with Cynthia. Hello, feelers. I'm Christina.
I'm Danny.
And this is the Empath Anonymous podcast. And today, we are so excited. The stars have aligned. The time is finally here. We have Cynthia Perez on the podcast today. She is an author, creative, therapist, educator, and the host of Confetti All Around Podcast. Cynthia started rootedinreflection.org as a safe space for epigenetic healing from the roots to the fruits. Welcome to the podcast, Cynthia.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Christina and Danny, for having me. I'm so happy to be here, and I just really appreciate like your ask, but also your flexibility and just the way you show up like for each other. So I'm so happy to be here.
We're so happy to have you. We were saying offline that we met at a event with two of our past guests, Soko and Brittany. So
how cool! Yes, you're right. And I remember you guys
are the trifecta. Yeah, you have finalized the triangle.
Yes, and you went to the event. It was the Self-Love Summer Jam.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yeah.
How was that for you?
There. Oh, we loved it.
We loved it. We were obsessed. Yeah. I still have my little frame. I just like have been trying to be very intentional about like what I want to put in my frame. Our candles are like fully burnt out. Look at Soko's candle over here. It is being loved on, girl. Like, we burn this.
Yes.
It's so amazing. And then to this day, like Brittany's episode with us about hip hop therapy and EMDR is like one of our top viewed YouTube video. It is our top viewed YouTube video of all time.
Wow.
Like, yeah, it's incredible. So we're so happy to have you, and we are just gonna get right into it.
Yeah, let's go.
So we have a segment on the podcast called What's in Your Cup? And so we ask our guests physically, what are you sipping on? How are you hydrating? And how are you showing up today?
I think you set an intention when I thought about that, because I made some hibiscus tea, but I put some cactus cooler in it because I wanted like a lemonade. Yeah, so it's first time doing it. It's delicious. And then I was thinking about what's in my metaphorical cup, and I just felt like saying liberation. Like, I feel so free lately. We are moving out of the country, out of our situation. Yeah. So this is like next month is the last month that will be in the country, and I feel like liberated. I feel like I chose liberation for my family, and I just feel like I'm floating. Yeah.
Yeah, I saw it in your email, and I was actually going to ask you about it. I thought that you were maybe just going on vacation or going there for an extended amount of time, but you're moving to Mexico?
We're moving to Mexico it's kind of like a return to my raíces. I can't believe it, but we're going back to my motherland, like where my parents are from, my whole lineage. And it's funny because I never thought that I would get to live in Mexico. And I say get to, like a privilege,
Right.
because it's a privilege. And I was like, I'm like the first generation of my family. My sister was even born in Mexico. And I never felt like I would be able to claim it. And once I was like, okay, well, F everything's going on here, I need a backup plan. And when I mentioned it to my husband, he was like, well, let's go see it. And we went to go see it last month. And all of us, unilaterally were like, we love it. So we just got our citizenship papers. We are citizens now, and we're excited. And so I feel truly like, I know it's going to be a different kind of hard. We are now immigrants, to the homeland, but we're still immigrating. But it feels like a return to myself. Like, I can truly be in the identity I've been going towards.
That's so exciting.
Oh
I'm
my
excited to follow your
gosh.
journey. If you
Yes.
feel
Thank
comfortable
you.
sharing,
Yeah.
where in Mexico?
So we're going to Merida, Yucatan, where my family's from. I know. And it's funny because I was looking at retreats. I'm going to do a retreat there, but I was looking at this retreat spot for years, and I would tell some of my therapist friends, like, let's do it. But then, the world, every season was some kind of disaster where I was like, not the time, not the time. So now I really believe that I'm supposed to be there living on the land to do this retreat where I want it. So yeah, I'm really excited. Merida's blowing up right now. It's like, yeah.
Yes,
You like
let's talk
it?
about it. Okay, so I think it was like 2020, 2021, somewhere around the pandemic when like I got on TikTok and like was on TikTok. Well, all of us were very heavily. It's like kind of becoming, everybody's moving there, especially Black people. There's a lot of Black people that are moving to Merida.
Yeah.
And so I tell her and her mom all the time, like, I want to go.
It is actually, yes, a really safe, beautiful, loving place for Black Americans, but Black people from all over, because Merida, it was the first point of conquest for Mexico. When Spain came, they stole persons from Africa, the West Indies as well. They stole people, in the 1500s, and committed them to enslavement, and then brought them to Mexico. So the indigenous and the Africans, they linked up. And they squat up. And so, yeah, the lineage of Africans in Mexico is just so deep and rich, and has given us our culture. So welcome. And it's also the second safest place in North America. So.
Okay, well, I will keep my eyeballs out for your retreat because I will be there.
Yeah.
My
I
ass
know.
will be there.
Or if you plan a vacation, just call me and we can meet up.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
It's been on our radar for so long. We have all these places that just keep bloop. They're little blips that just keep kind of like popping up. For whatever reason, Denver, Colorado was on that list. And then we have lots of different places.
Santa Barbara.
I don't, okay.
Wow.
We'll figure it out. As far as the states. And then for me, it's like Mexico has always been a place that I've wanted to reclaim for myself. And I'm even farther down the line of like on my mom's side, I think I'm like 4th or 5th generation. It goes way deep. And then on my dad's side, I'm like 3rd-ish. So for me, it's been even more difficult because I've been in this like strange duality of like Mexican Americanhood, where it was
Yeah.
like a lot of people just didn't even acknowledge my Latina side and didn't even think that I was that. And so when I told them, and it was just like a lot of denial, or because I don't speak the language and I just grew up knowing English,
Yeah.
it's just a lot of that like dismissal of my truth. And so, I kind of dove into some of my lineage, and on my dad's side found out like where my grandpa's mom was buried, and like Google
Wow.
imaged and like Google
Yeah.
mapped the cemetery, and I'm like, and I found her headstone. I'm like, this is crazy. So like to
Wow.
actually go, I know, like chilies, but like
Mm.
to actually go there. And then on my mom's side, my grandpa's from Santa Rosalia in Baja, and so it's just like seeing it there, but like not ever being, it's like not a tangible thing, like how you're talking about, right? You never think that you're going to be able to
Yeah.
do those things, but it's like the more it
Wow.
comes up in my life, I'm like, there is a calling, there is a pull for
Yeah.
something, I know,
And
we
you know
gotta
what
go.
I think of is like, you here are growing up here, doing your daily thing, looking for meaning in your life, like so many of us. And here you are parallel to your land, right here. It's like right there.
Yes.
And there's an invisible border and a physical one, but you're like right there. And I have in meditation, like felt the earth breathing, calling me. And I honestly believe we're going to see a lot of return. And I believe the land misses you. And I believe the land is like calling us back, and it wants its children, and the loss, I always thought of it as like the loss of people with each other, like aunts and grandparents and children. But really, the land lost us too. The land lost all of our magic. So how beautiful.
I know. It's just something to really explore. I love genealogy. I love looking into my stuff. So that's a whole separate conversation. But
Yes.
yeah, please.
Yeah, I know we could go on and on about that forever, but we really want to dive into get to know you more. So,
Yeah.
what has your journey been becoming a therapist?
Yeah. I mean, what's funny? I'm gonna be really honest,
Yeah,
if I can, because this
Of
is not
course.
my job. Okay, good. I don't even consider myself a therapist anymore. Like,
really?
I am a therapist.
Yes.
Like, don't tell anybody else, because that's what I do for work. I do clinical supervision. I do some therapy, but I really have been pulling away from it because of my spirituality. But my journey was just really being an unknown people pleaser, and not knowing really that I was neurodivergent. And I really like getting to the bottom of things. And I really like being empathic and being in that. So I actually never wanted to be a therapist. I wanted to be a social worker, that I thought like, oh, you have to follow this path. And then when they were like, oh, but you have to diagnose people and you have to, and I was like, fine. But that part of my job has never felt good. And so I've been a social worker therapist for about 15 years. And really in year 12, the pandemic, I was like, you know what? Fuck it. So I was doing therapy on the land privately with Latina and Black women, just like come to the land. I'm not going to diagnose you. I'm going to call it coaching. And we would do work. And I started to have people fire me. I was like, you know what? I don't want to do this anymore. Could we stop? And then if you want to continue, we'll do it this way. And it's going to be more spiritual. It's going to be more, in hamacas on the land. And all of my clients said yes. So if I'm not doing a contract job, if it's just rooted, I'm not a therapist. Yeah. And so with that, I mean, it's totally fine. And my clients were like, well, what are you? I was like, I just really feel called to be in my curanderismo roots, but I'm not a curandera, but I'm just gonna follow it. So yeah, even I am a therapist, but I feel like lately I'm more of a spiritual creative. Like I'm supposed to share my work through my writing and through my like compassion.
Oh,
Oof.
I love
I
that.
love that so much. Yeah, and we are always very intentional about like the episodes that we put out. So it's really important to acknowledge the existence of all modalities, and you can be multiple things at once. We always talk about like multi-potentiality and being within multidisciplinary areas, and really just coming home to yourself and really understanding what that means for you, and especially when you are providing a service and you have a practice in that way. And then the fact that your clients were like, yeah, girl, it was just
Oh,
like confirmation.
Yeah, and my clients, like I cry in gratitude sometimes, and I'll even tell them like it's such an honor for me to even be witnessing myself grow and have these amazing people who we've grown separately. Obviously, it's my professional self and their journey, but what a beautiful way that we get to be human together. And I'm seeing my purpose, the way that I like to kind of fuck shit up is I believe that right now in my knowing, in my experience, and in my ability to stand 10 toes down, I'm supposed to support new therapists who have lost so much in COVID, so much time, so much structure in our field. My role as a clinical supervisor, so I have clinical supervisees, meaning they're unlicensed. I'm helping them decolonize their mind. My role, I think, right now is to really support therapists who are trying to decolonize their work, who are trying to dig in their own roots and work through their own stuff. I want to hold space for them so that they can clear up any blockages and go do good work, not work the way that I was taught, because I was taught a lot of fucked up shit. And I realized that I can do something about it through supporting this generation of therapists.
Oh, I love that. I love that.
It's like all that you're saying is just like I'm taking notes because I've in this last like couple months I'm just in a little bit of like an existential crisis. Like I don't know what I'm doing. Like I want to finish school, but it's like what's the purpose? Like what kind of
What
impact am
is
I going
school
to have?
anymore? Yeah.
You know, and so it's like I get my associates next month and then I'm like moving on to my bachelor's and my master's, but it's like what will I learn there? You know? And so I'm certainly going to keep you in my back pocket.
And look how good you are at what you do right now. Look how good you are at this.
Yeah. It's another
amazing
conversation that we have a lot with being a creator and with having a podcast and putting your voice out there and trying to amplify other people's stories and voices. It doesn't feel like work because it's my dream, but it's not lucrative. So you have to keep prioritizing work outside of that to support you so you can keep doing the things that you love, the creative things that you love. But then it's like kind of where she's at. It's like I have so many balls in the air and I only have two hands. So it's like I have to drop something, but I can't drop the thing that makes me money because then how am I going to pay my bills? So it's like it's always like I know like you probably have felt that at some capacity and a lot of creatives do. It's like I want to do this, but it's not making me money right now. We always are like manifesting and like very intentional about our words, but it's like I can't do this as my sole thing, but I like feel a call so much to that, and I can't leave the thing that isn't lighting my soul up because I have to, in capitalistic America, pay my bills and support myself.
Absolutely. I'm in a existential crisis of I literally am like, I feel like I'm unhireable now because I will walk out of the workplace. Like my spirit's like, and we're not doing that anymore. And I've been working since I was 15. I've done so many jobs because I was such a good Marianista, such a good people pleaser. And now like she's so gone that I'm like, no, you have a bad vibe. I quit. Like, nope, I don't need you. I quit. And I'm like, dude, you have 3 children. Like you can't quit every space. But I just know what it feels like to work like this, to work from a love lens. So I hear you. It's kind of a problem. Decolonizing is a commitment. It's a paradigm shift. It's not like a show that you watch once a week. I mean, you got to binge the shit, like it's a lifestyle. So I hear you.
And I'm in like the public school space and I'm just like, there's like so much at play there. But speaking to some of like the genealogy and how that affects us in our daily life, we wanted to talk more about your book, My Marianismo, Nurturing Myself from the Roots to the Bloom, which we love that, by the way, and how you have combined the two concepts of Marianismo and epigenetics. If you can kind of break those two things down for our feelers.
Thank you so much. Yes. So I have this book, My Marianismo, Nurturing Myself from the Roots to the Bloom, and it says a decolonial love story about blossoming into your legacy. And the whole Marianismo and epigenetics thing, I'm going to say it. Yeah. They're okay with me saying it. I'm going to say it with love. I mean this with total love and confidence for my purpose is like, I truly believe this is my calling to do this. This is my grand assignment. Don't ask me to save the world in other ways, but I can do this. And I feel like seeing Marianismo in like reading about it. My bachelor's is in Chicano Latino Studies since 2006. So I've been on this like always studying history of people of color in the United States. But like then I brought it into my work. And so the fact that I'm a therapist talking about Marianismo was like, I don't see it anywhere. Is this okay? And I kept saying like, I wish somebody would do this. And I wish somebody would write this. And I wish they would just like, it's so easy for me. And that's kind of where my neurodivergent gifts came into play. I would be like meditating or I would be researching and I just saw it like boop, boop, boop. Like it all just linked up. And I really believe that was spirit saying, this is for you to move forward. And for a while I'd be like, is this right? Do I have this framework correct? And I would literally read the books again to make sure I truly understood it. And then I would watch clips of other people saying it. And I'm like, how come they're not saying it like this? And so my framework is understanding that Marianismo, which is a virtue that Latina, Black women, and Filipino women, and I say that because all those women have countries that have been colonized by Spain. And so if you're from those lands, you can understand this Marianismo, like the Caribbean diaspora, Puerto Rico, lands that were colonized by Spain. We have this virtue that has been modeled to us of Marianismo. And what that is basically the counterpart of machismo. The woman's role is to help the man follow God. So what does that mean? Make sure he's fed, make sure the kids are fed, make sure everyone's taken care of, be like the Virgin Mary, be peaceful about it, don't complain, be humble, be for the community. So make sure everyone is good, make it look easy. And we want you to be maidenly, but also woman and feminine. And it was all these roles that have been taught to us, either by shaming or by very much violence and obedience being told to us, right? And so when I started to think about Marianismo, I'm like, man, it's all of us. Like it's all of the elders that I've known. It's so many of my tias. It's my mom. And I was like, could this be like in our blood? And so then when I read about epigenetics, I was like, bing, that's it. Our Marianismo is in our genetics. And so epigenetics is not our genotype or not our phenotype because those never change. But our epigenetics is an evolutionary gene. And it actually sits on our genes as like a backpack. And in the backpack is all of our past experiences from our lineages. So that means in my backpack goes 7 generations. So that means if I'm closing my eyes and I'm thinking about, I'm just Cynthia here in California, moving. Why do I feel so much grief? Well, in my backpack, I feel it. In my backpack is the fact that my grandfather snuck on a ship when he was 14 to get away from his abusive alcoholic stepdad in Mexico. He snuck on a ship that ended up bringing him to California, and he ended up being a farm worker at 14, leaving my grandmother to cry for him every day at the port. And then 2 years later, he came back. So my backpack has abandonment, has a work ethic like a mother, has survival, right? Has a map in there, has like all the ways to garden as a campesino. So epigenetic remembers which muscles, which switches were turned on. And so when I started to look at epigenetics as this survival gene, I started to think, well, then if I know how to survive, some of it's not serving me. If I know how to shrink, if I know how to be humble, if I know how to work hard, how do I know how to do the other stuff? And I started to look at epigenetics as you can rewire your brain by doing the stuff that hasn't been turned on. So if we worked really hard, you got to flip the switch, because the good thing about epigenetics is it evolves. Whatever you do more of, it becomes stronger. So when I talk about Marianismo and epigenetics, I talk about the burdens that we carry, but also the resources that we have yet to tap into, or acknowledging the resources we tap into all the time.
Wow. There's
That was a lot.
There's so
Sorry.
much to unpack there. No, it's so good.
So good.
Sometimes, we actually just got off of a call of an interview before you where we talk about neurodivergence. And the more that I tap into that and understand that my brain works differently, I'm like, just the processing sometimes, like what you were saying, like sometimes I see my thoughts as pictures. And so like,
that's it.
what was that?
I don't know.
Okay,
maybe,
going with it.
Sorry, it was like a little ding dong for probably like a calendar or something.
It was an affirmation.
Okay.
Is what
I
I'm
was
taking
saying,
it
I
as.
felt
because
that.
look, my do not disturb is on.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I felt that.
Right?
It should
Like, don't doubt yourself.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, even just like as you're walking through your family history, I'm thinking about mine, and we talk about this on the podcast too, of like I'm here on this assignment and I'm living this life, and there might be hardships or there might be things that I wish were different, but I always tell myself like my grandmother and my great grandmother like would have been absolutely floored at the life that I'm living, like in a great way, because they were not able to leave their situations
Absolutely.
with men. And so sometimes I'm like, not that I'm down on myself for being single, because it's like sometimes I'm like, people ask me like, how do you look so young at 33? I'm like, I don't have a man. Oops.
Right.
I don't have a man and I don't have babies. That's how I look so young. But I always tell myself like I'm so like fiercely independent. And so going back to your point, it's like that's because it's in my backpack, because I am continuing on a legacy that my ancestors were not able to.
And I just, when you were talking, I was imagining a woman, with so many children, and her like, oh, I hope that one of these children have the choice and get to say, no, I choose this for myself, and travel. And here you are, and like there was maybe somebody who didn't get that option, who had to marry young, who, could not leave their partner and go take their children.
Yep.
And here you are, like, I'm in my singlehood. If I do it, if I don't, like, that's amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. It's something that I talk about a lot, and I'm pretty open about it, because my grandmother has passed, and I love her a lot, and I know that she visits me a lot and is like one of my guides, but she was in a really bad abusive situation, but she had 5 kids and she had no education or way to provide for herself. And like when she went to her dad and said, this is what's happening, he's like, that's the choice you made, that's your husband, you gotta stay. And I'm like, you know what I mean? Like my parents would never tell me that. I know it was a completely different time, we're talking about, this is like the 50s, 60s.
Yeah.
So I know it was a completely different time, but I'm just like, wow, like I'm happy to live this life so that she can look down and know that I got to make different choices that she wasn't able to.
Yes. And I also see it there as, if she's looking down, she doesn't want to see you like living the same kind of burdens as her, but also, tapping into that fierceness that you might need, or that independence that she had to have. And maybe in her situation was different, but for you, it looks like this, and you still get to utilize that. That's wonderful.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So I'll have to come back to this. I'm like, there's going to be more that I need to dig into here.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's like reaching into the backpack for things that like suit you, or it's like, I'm taking out this and I'm taking out that. I'm like, ooh, one of these things is not like the other. And it's like, what do I choose from the backpack? Like I get to choose what I'm using until things start to shift. And so I think for so many of us, we see these patterns that exist generation after generation. And it's why some behaviors skip generations, and why we are attracted to certain things that maybe like my mom wasn't attracted to, but my grandma was.
Yeah.
It's in our backpacks.
Ooh, that's a good one.
And I'm
Or
like, oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Or I was thinking how my mom, and she starts to tell herself these stories, kind of what you just mentioned. She would tell me, and now that she's aging, Cynthia, my dad, I wanted to divorce your dad when he was rude to me from the beginning. And my dad said, too bad, you married him. You're not welcome back here. That was their way of teaching women resilience, right? Patriarchy, all of that. But like, you chose this, like be a strong woman, and yet not offering them support when they need it. So now when my husband is soft with me, it's like my mom doesn't believe it. It's like she wants to create a story, because I believe honestly there could be some jealousy, there could be some envy, but that's not the way men are. I haven't seen that be done, so that can't be true. And I have seen, even in my epigenetics, here's my husband being soft, being like protective of me, and I'm almost about to throw it away because I feel the epigenetics of resentment at men. And I'm like, okay, somebody in the lineage, many women are mad at men. Like they're pissed. And then I asked my mom, because when I ended up having my first son after various miscarriages, which is child loss, I started to ask her, because epigenetics is like, you can start acting out in a way that is not you. And I have done that where I'm like, why did I just cuss them out? Like, why did this person come up and just speak for me? And those are my epigenetic protectors. You know, they just like, I know what to do. Move to the side. Like, we got to get through this. And one of them was rage and resentment and feeling this, I need to run away kind of feeling postpartum. And so something was like, ask your mom. My gut was like, this lives in you. This lives in your raíces. Ask your mom. And when I asked her, I found out a couple things. Now, remember, I said epigenetics is like the genes that have been used a lot, and they're dormant. They could be dormant, and then an event triggers it. So having a child, losing a job, a breakup, a divorce, buying a house, losing a house, right? A death of somebody. So all of these things. So I feel like my last like huge epigenetic awakening was having a child. And so I asked my mom, like, dime de tu abuela, de tu mamá. And so she basically told me a couple things, that my great grandmother, her grandmother, raised her, but that she had lost three children. Okay. One miscarriage, but one child died at the age of 1 from dysentery, basically from poverty. And then the other child died at 3 because of the dad being drunk. And it was a freak accident. And I talk about this in my episode, La Llorona, on Confetti All Around. And I talk about how, I guess my great grandfather came home drunk and there was a party. Imagine, I mean, you talk about visualizing something. It was una fiesta. And he came home drunk and he grabbed his daughter, just happy to see her. She was 3 years old, put her on his shoulders. And my grandma was like, please don't. And he was drunk and he fell and the baby died in front of everybody. Yeah, I'm sorry to say it like that, but this is like a lot of our ancestors' like lives. Okay, so everyone talks about trigger warnings. Like, we didn't get trigger warnings back then. It was just the trigger. So I'm sorry to say it. So when she told me that, I freaking felt it. And I was like, I wonder if this is why my genes came out to be like, I would tell my husband to do something with the baby and then I wouldn't trust him. And I wouldn't let him. And I would become a barrier to the help I said I wanted. And it was like, to the point where he's like, I don't understand what you really want me to do. Do I leave you alone or do I help you? And it was like this resentment. And the resentment told me, I just don't know how to stop feeling angry at this disappointment. So yeah, so that is how Marianismo was in my epigenetics and showing me like, this goes a lot deeper than you.
Yeah, totally. Whew.
I know.
This is so good.
Sorry. That silence, I'm like, sorry? Oh no, I do that. I always do that.
It's such an accurate truth. It is a depiction of the traumas that we have carried for actual decades and centuries. It's like, I could think of so many parties. I think of so many parties where things have gone weird or wrong, or people have gotten into fights, or people are doing this over here, and the kids are falling asleep on the couch, and it's 2:00 in the morning. You know what I mean? It's just like, this is real. These are the things that a lot of us have experienced for so long. So never an apology. Yeah. It's just always like,
it's deep. It's heavy.
No apologies ever needed. We always say whatever you're comfortable saying on our podcast is cool. We can go as deep as you want, and we absolutely welcome it because that's the conversations that we love. But adding on to what you were talking about, how then with epigenetics and Marianismo, how then did you dive deeper bringing in chakra work?
Honestly, so this is my third book, actually. My second book is called The ABCs of Protecting Your Inner Child Peace. And that one came to me in a dream. Bad Bunny talked about it on NPR, how he wrote a song, Lo que pasó a Hawaii. Yeah. It was a dream. And I was like, it was such confirmation for me. Like, see, I'm not crazy. Like, the second book, it was a dream. And this one was like so many meditations. And I would see like the rose. I use a rose framework. I use a diagram that I created. And I would see it in my meditation. And I would be like, is that mine to create? Did I think of that? Are you giving me that? And I just stopped questioning it. And I just started like going deeper and capturing it. And so the way that the chakra work, I just saw it. But more más que nada, one day my niece, I credit my niece who was 18 at the time. Now she's 20, but she started to get into spirituality, and she invited me to a goddess retreat in Newport Beach. Yeah, but it was very Newport Beach, if you know what I mean. Okay,
You
and
don't need
very
to say
goddess.
anymore.
Right,
Yeah.
right. Like wide brim hats, maxi dresses,
Yes.
like no deodorant, like goddess retreat. No offense.
Yep.
And so
been
I
there.
get there. Yeah, it's this huge, the clubhouse of this private Newport Beach community. It was so huge. I felt so out of place. And I get there and I sign up for these like workshops. And one of them was a chakra reading, and the other one was a womb healing. So I'm in the womb healing, waiting for my chakra reading, and I just couldn't be in there. I felt sick. I wanted to throw up. The woman was a Caucasian person, and everybody was Caucasian. What I wanted to say is the woman had good intentions, but spiritually she was somewhere else. It was all for show. Everything was fake. The flowers were fake on the altar. The candle was fake. And I was like, this is so telling. And my body literally moved out of the room. Something pulled me like, I don't want to be here. So I just like excused myself. I just bowed out. And as I walk out of the room, the woman goes, Cynthia. And she said, I was calling you for your chakra reading. And out of my mouth, I said, I know. That's why I'm here. And I was like, what the? Who said that? I said that. So she takes me to the chakra reading, a Caucasian woman. She this changed my life. So she did such a fantastic job. She has me lay down. Like I'm telling you, we were like in a conference space. There's people like vending over here. She had me on a cot, and honey, I was somewhere else. And so I could tell, and I want to say this because I feel like this is a lot of us. If you're a woman of color, I was laying there and I was like, okay, white lady, I'm not going to let you all the way in. I'm going to pretend, I don't know. And I felt myself like, okay, but don't let her get you. Don't let her, because I felt like you're not going to be the sunken place. I swear. I felt resistance in my third eye. Like, okay, don't go all the way. Like you don't know what she's going to do.
Yeah.
And in there, all of a sudden, I'm like holding on and I fall into it. And all of a sudden, y'all, I'm in my grandmother's house in Merida. I've seen her house. I've been there before. And I'm in her house. She welcomes me in. And I'm standing in her living room, and I can see it now. And something tells me in this meditation. So she's like, while I'm doing that, if you've never done a chakra reading, she's taking a pendulum. And she told me everything she was going to do. She's taking a pendulum, and she's clearing all my chakras. And she's doing Reiki. And she's also writing down all the things that she notices in my chakras, right? So she's just like scribbling. Where I am is Merida. You can't tell me anything. And so when I'm in my grandmother's room, it feels like love. It feels warm. It feels safe. I can feel the cold tile on my feet. And all of a sudden, I walked to her room. And they were very poor. So it was like a one-room house. And there was her hamaca in the corner. There was nothing else in the room but her hamaca and her bed. And on the wall, if you've ever seen, it was a picture of La Ángel de la Guardia with those two children. And she's walking them over the bridge. And it's like rainbow. Yeah, she always had that picture. And it was that picture, and it was the bed, her bed. But I was in her bed, and I was her. It was like I was returning to the room, right? And so I was in her bed, and I was asking her, like, what am I doing here? And she's like, you can always come here. If you're ever scared, like, I'm with you. So when we get out, I had just started doing Reels, and I had just started doing Rooted, and that woman didn't know me. She didn't know me from anybody else. And so she reported to me, well, the good news is your crown chakra, your third eye chakra, and your throat are so open. It's beautiful. And your heart is a little bit closed, but not super closed. It's very easy to open. She goes, but your root chakra is closed. It is so tight. And I was like, first of all, what are you talking about? What does that mean? And like, how do I heal it? Like, what do I do, lady?
Right.
And she's like, your root chakra is intergenerational trauma, is financial trauma, and is scarcity. And I was like, oh, well, I definitely have that. But how do I do it? And she's like, well, you got to ask questions, but you have to really meditate on it. And I want you to, this is what I want you to do. For the next week, I want you to eat red, see red, be red, think red. And I was like, what the fuck are we talking about? Like, lady, I was in my grandma's house. You're telling me to eat red. Like, what are we doing? When I tell my husband what I just came to, right? Like, And so she's like, okay, she's like, your root, and she starts to tell me like, it's so blocked. It's not trusting yourself. It's not trusting others. It's, you're not gonna get money because your root is so blocked. You're not gonna let it in. And then she told me my sacral, my inner child is like, it's blocked as well, my creativity. And so she's like, I was like, but I meditate. She's like, what I would recommend, because it's your root all the way to your solar plexus, she's like, I would recommend movement, meditate and movement. Okay, so that day I leave the workshop. I'm like, I said to my niece, Alyssa, I need to go. I need to go work on my root chakra. The kids spent the night at my parents, and I went home, and I was alone. Fue un milagro that I was home alone, and I went and I was like, I'm gonna take a shower. I'm gonna eat a healthy meal, and I'm gonna work on this root chakra. Take a shower, which was intuitively una limpia. I sat by the beach before too, Newport Beach. So I had the ocean. I gave myself a shower. I fed myself something nutritious. And then I put a blanket down and I start doing what she said. One thing I didn't notice is that I put down a red towel on a red rug. Intuitive, right? So I'm doing the meditation, and so I'm like, think red, see red, blah, blah, blah. And I'm on this like yoga ball, and I'm like, she said move, so move. Why did I wake up from one of the meditations and I'm in the birthing position? Like my legs are out, my hips are to the ceiling, and I'm like grunting, and I have like tears. And in my meditation, I basically was able to see all of my children and my husband and what they need from me. And it was like, give this one more compassion. Like, don't be so quick to anger. And this one doesn't feel seen. And like, da da da. And I was like, whoa, what is that? And then I kept at it. And then I woke up again in a different position. It was a fetal position. And I had like lagrimas. And in that meditation, it was like all of this answering of me. And so why I say that is I started to realize, and it makes sense, if epigenetics is like a neurological trauma, and it is like making our nervous system activated and there's blockages. The chakras are an energetic blockage that we have because of intergenerational trauma. And how do I clear it if I don't even know that shit is mine? So if I'm talking about rape, my grandmother being raped, or if I'm talking about incest, if I'm talking about sexual abuse 3 generations ago, I'm here wondering, how come I feel shame in my body when nobody has done that to me? Consider that energy could be my grandmother's fear of sex, or my grandmother's fear. One thing was dancing. She wasn't allowed to dance by her husband. So therefore my mom didn't dance. And I love to dance. That's the medicina for me. So and as a child, I wasn't allowed to dance. And now I love it. You can't stop me. So do you see how I was passed on this root blockage, and now I'm here wondering how to fix it? So that's where I saw Marianismo and the chakras.
I love it.
That's a lot. Sorry.
I'm like, no, I gotta figure out where are my blockages right now.
I know. How does one even find that out?
Well, but that's the thing, meditating on it. So like in my book, it's gonna have like recipes, like green recipes, purple, but like the heart is green, right? Yeah. That's resentment. Like the negatives, the blockages could be like resentment, overgiving and not feeling seen, humility, blocking, like feeling like you are not missed or you're not considered. But then when you heal that, let's say you open it, an abundance of love. The other one is Marianismo is like, I'm going to give you things, but it's hard for me to receive love. So I'm going to give you compliments. I'm going to work really hard for you, but it's going to be really hard for me to ask for help. Well, that heart is blocked. And that's Marianismo teaching us to be like that. Or the solar plexus in Marianismo is like being stripped of our culture, being stripped of our feminine wonder, being told like, no, your job is this. I don't care if the kids are crying. Don't be with them. Go to work, when really we want to be with the kids. We want to feel, in the garden, and we're told that we have to sit at a desk or whatever. We have to clean the house when we really want to, do something else. Mm-hmm. So I started to see that if we have been living outside of our purpose, now our solar plexus is blocked. That is our intuition, our connection to self. It's also called a susto response, un susto herido, like the inherited susto, which is like a fear that is like a breath that is you're inheriting your parents' fear, and it's not yours. But also you are not being yourself. And so how do you even heal that if you're aligned with Marianismo? So, all these chakras are really pulled based on our cultural values.
Yeah. Ooh,
Oh, incredible.
I can't wait for this book.
I know.
Girl.
I was going to say, do you have an official release date for the book or not yet?
You know what? It's partly written. I just have to I think I'm going to hire an illustrator in Mexico to do the illustrations because I see the illustrations as really important. They have to be colorful, right? They have to be. So yeah, I have the words mostly written, but I hope to have it out soon. And I just hope to talk about it more because once you can see it, you can't unsee it. Like, for example, por ejemplo, look at me right now. I didn't think about it, but I'm wearing magenta lipstick.
Yes.
I'm wearing a magenta sweater. I'm wearing a red stone, and I'm drinking Jamaica.
Yeah.
But I just got ready. Do you see how? And this color is really crown energy. This is the crown. This is connection to source. The red is connection to root. And now I'm really doing root to crown healing. And I talk about in my book, like my abuela, she would sew ipiles. And ipiles are traditional shirts, with the embroidered flowers. Now think about that. Indigenous women, or even Black women, or even Filipino, all of these cultures that do indigenous wear, they're using colors. They're using protector flowers. They're sewing flowers, which are a protector. They're using birds, which are protectors. They sew on animals. They know what they're doing. When they put beautiful colors on our heart, they are protecting our chakras. And we never, you just grab something and you wear it. And really, I realize now, when my grandmother was sewing ipiles, she was making protective armor with softness.
Yes. It's like when you admire the folklorico dancers with all their beautiful colors and their red lip and their amazing dresses. It's not just an outfit that they go and dance in. They didn't order on dancewear.com. It's so specific to the meaning and the depth behind what it is that they're doing. And so it's oh yes. It reminds me of that shirt that you thrifted.
Which one?
You thrifted a shirt several months ago and it has the embroidery on it. And something told you to just pick it up.
Yes.
Ooh. Maybe when we go,
I'm
gonna go grab upstairs. I'm gonna go get it upstairs when we come on yours next.
And okay.
I'm gonna show you the shirt. I've never worn
Absolutely.
it. But it's in my closet.
Yay!
Yeah.
Meant to be.
I went to this thrift thing and it was one of those things where they have the tarps on the ground and then they dump all the bins down and then you just basically scavenge, and everything was $1. And I picked it up and I looked at it, I'm like, that's not gonna fit me, but that's for Danny. And I just put it in my cart and I bought it. Here. And I brought it home. I'm like, there you go.
But do you see you knew, and it's we might just say it's just a thing, but if we just go, no, I do have this little magic in me. We call it glamour magic, to know that this is for her and this is going to empower her, and you two linking up like comadres. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
beautiful.
Yeah. She can't go anywhere.
Oh, yeah. We'll talk about that.
Yeah. I'm going to handcuff her.
With you.
I love it.
Oh, yeah. We talk about all the time how if we... And, we haven't really put a time limit on it ever, but we're if we don't get married, if we don't find our person, we're just going to get a compound and we're just going to be, what is it called? Domestic partners?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. On paper, it would be a domestic partnership.
Yeah.
For tax.
Get those benefits. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Do it. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. She's my beneficiary. She gets my 401k.
Yeah.
She'll split it with my baby. I know she'll do right by my baby. How one would.
Yes. And those are the resources that I talk about when I talk about legacy resources. So in my book, I use a rose, and the roots in this book are intergenerational trauma, colonialism, patriarchy, immigration, abandonment, loss of a parent. Those are the roots, and the root feelings are shame, longing, grief, sadness, fear. And then our thorns are the protectors that made us survive. So being able to be invisible, which we could be really good at, being able to be humble, being able to be really good at producing. But those things keep us right and tight. But when you're always producing, are you creating? You produced this product, but did you create it? And so what did you create for yourself after you made all that clothes or you picked that bushel of strawberries? What did you eat? And so then I saw the leaves. The leaves are our photosynthesis, our gifts, the things that we do well, like comadreship, knowing how to work together to make communities safe, being intuitive with people who aren't good for you, seeing something in your dreams and then following up on it, So we have these gifts, and if we can be in safety, we start to activate our photosynthesis. So yeah, this is just like a whole like kind of flow into our bloom, which is us and our essence.
Oof, yes. Ooh,
She went ahead and just answered the next question for us.
Exactly, yeah, because as we talked about earlier, where we met was the Self-Love Summer Jam last summer, 2024. And like we said, you completed the trifecta now, but we met in a literal, actual, physical plant shop. And so what you mentioned was how plants heal you. But as we've been kind of talking throughout this whole episode, we've understood now why and how beneficial things like that are to not only ourselves but our lineage. So our past traumas, my mom seeing me doing certain things, and then my daughter seeing me doing those things, and my mom watching me doing those, you know what I mean? It's all just this intertwined, like, and then my mom choosing different because I'm choosing different. And it's just been such an interesting and impactful experience. And now all of us nurture plants, and my daughter talks to plants, and she kisses them.
Aww.
And she's like,
Oh.
"Hi, plant." And all of the plants in this house are thriving.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think we've had like a dead plant in
Oh.
probably over a year, really.
Yeah, just my air plant.
Yeah.
How
The
awesome.
air plants are tough, but
Wait, do you two live together?
yeah.
Yes.
So we live together in my parents' home. It's like Full House.
How? Oh my gosh. And do you enjoy it?
Oh my
Of
God.
course.
Obsessed. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
that's a whole thing.
It's where our journey is, and
Yes.
it goes back to kind of like you're saying, the community aspect, and how we've been colonized to feel like we all need to be individuals and we all need to have our own place. We all need to do things on our own. But it's like, in reality, we're living the way that our ancestors did. Because it
Yes.
was
Oh,
about the whole
absolutely.
tribe, not just each individual person.
Yes, absolutely. Wow, that's really beautiful. Yes, and being able to see each other's journey, but also like make a project with your time together that can live on and help so many people. That's really amazing.
Yeah, it
So,
happened in like a very interesting way, and it just such a beautiful thing to come from something like that. But we did want to give you a few moments, so please,
Yeah.
share.
Just to wrap up everything, and this has just been such a fun and grounding and I don't know, everything, all the things,
Yes.
Conversation. I'm so happy that you came on and that we've been able to like dive deep into all the things that we did. So can you please tell us more about your upcoming event, the Latina Fest in Los Angeles?
yes, thank you for asking. It's the last event I'm doing before I leave to Mexico. So it feels very ceremonial. I'm actually staying I'm actually staying in hotels just to stay at this event. And I really admire the women that are putting on Latina Fest. They have a lot of good intention. And so I sent like 10 proposals, y'all. Like I was like, so now I have the proposals. That's the cool thing about my Marianismo. I'm like, oh, you want a proposal? I'll give you 10 because I'm Latina. I'm ready. And so they had me interview because they had like 3 of them that they liked. And they actually chose my self-compassion sound bath. So it's myself, it's 310 Bruja Magic, which is Eliana. She is a holy fire Reiki master. She's going to be doing the sound bowls and doing Reiki healing along with her cousin Evelyn. And then it's my friend Irelia of Cosmic Rose Apothecary, and she's going to be doing smoke limpias. And I'm doing the visualization, the grounding. And so we're really just going to be grounding in our self-compassion. And it's going to be a really beautiful ceremony. It's the wellness workshop, and it's sold out. So I feel like honored.
Gosh,
Yeah.
incredible.
That is amazing.
And I was like, should I cancel? And I didn't cancel it because I was like, I'm just going to. And when I saw it was sold out, I was like, okay, this feels really beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
That's crazy. I feel like I just saw the Instagram for that, and I was like, oh, I would love to go. It's like our May is so crazy that like for us to plan anything else in May, I think we would probably lose it. But to know that it's
I hear
sold out
you.
is amazing. I feel like that means that everyone that's going is so ready to be there, and that's such a good feeling.
Yeah, I'm really excited. And then the thing that's fun too is we get to be there all day, me and my friends. And I'm like, this is the kind of work I want to do. You think I want to be like in an office writing notes about people? I want to be like this, healing like this. And one of the things that I wanted to step into is when I go to Mexico and I see the shaman Cynthia, her name is Cynthia. honey, she sees me until the session is done. There's none of this 50 minutes, hurry up, wrap it up. She sees me from, you want the egg limpia? You want the smoke limpia? We're doing the cards. Then we're sealing you up. She does all of it. And the whole time I could tell I was like, am I taking up too much space? And that's the way I want to work. I want to be able to see you and then we're done. I don't have to like be in charge of you. So I'm really excited to be able to work like this. And yeah, that's going to be June 1st in Los Angeles, Latina Fest.
Okay.
Yay, that's so exciting.
Oh my goodness.
Awesome.
Yes.
And then just to close out, can you please let our listeners know where they can find you if they want to find your books, if they want to book sessions with you? How can they do that?
Yeah, so you can go to rootedinreflection.org. You can find my book. You can find offerings. You can find recorded courses and also my podcast, Confetti All Around, which is on Spotify and Apple, anywhere you stream podcasts. And you can find the book on my website or on Amazon, and I self-publish. So I appreciate anyone asking, and I appreciate you guys for asking. Thank you.
Of course. Yeah. Everything will be linked in the show notes for our feelers.
Yes.
And
thank you so much to Cynthia for coming on. I'm confident that this is going to blow your mind as much as it did Danny and I's. And I just know that I'm going to be processing and thinking about this. I'm probably gonna be like DMing Cynthia like, oh my God, like this came up, blah, blah, blah. So
I would love that because we talked about the silence. So I would love that.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah. And of course, you guys, if you have any aha moments, please reach out to Cynthia, sound off in our Spotify comments or on YouTube, and we'll get the questions to Cynthia. Maybe we can have like a Q&A in the future.
Instagram Live would be so fun.
Sure.
IG Live. Yeah. Perfect.
Sure. Thank you for having me.
Of course. Thank you. And we'll see you guys on the other side. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for tuning in to this week's EA meeting.
If you liked this episode, please share it with a friend and leave a 5-star rating and review on Apple or Spotify. We'd love to hear from you.
You can follow us on Instagram and TikTok at EmpathsAnonPod.
Don't forget to follow us wherever you listen to podcasts or subscribe to our YouTube channel and turn on the notification bell so you're the first to know when we release a new episode.
We'll meet you back here on the Green Velvet Couch next time.
Bye, feelers!